Hey guys, we're Berlin95, recording live from the local county prison cell. I'm incredibly bored, so I'm gonna release another video here. So this isn't really context or pretense or anything. This is just a fun story. I was gonna do this one, I think, like a week or two ago, and then right before the Grand Bull, who I've mentioned a couple of times. He's another YouTuber who does death battle, fan made death battle trailers and stuff, and he's really good at it. Go check him out if you haven't. Um, I've actually gotten a lot of different fights that I've ended up doing that I really really liked, because I saw a trailer, that I probably would have taken me a while to just come across those fights. So you know, really really good source of inspiration for me on this. Um, right before I was gonna do this fight, he releases a video for it or a trailer for it, and I'm like, well, I can't do it now because then it's gonna seem like I just copied it, like I did all those other times, like I just saw him do it and decided I was gonna do it. So I actually postponed this a week or two just to give myself some time and also work on some stuff to that I wanted to work on. And then there's another story that goes along with this. So I'm gonna say the fight first. The fight is Rex Salazar from Generator Rex versus Jaime Reyes, the Blue Beetle from the DC universe. So before I had done a fight of Rex versus Max Steel from that own series, which I didn't even I'm not gonna repeat that much of what I said on that episode, but I said Rex would win, and apparently, all five people in the Max Steel fan base are adamantly against anyone being able to beat Max Steel. They are just fucking attack dogs when it comes to, whew, don't mess with the Max Steel fan base. Um, so, and shortly after, not because like I thought that fight was bad or I thought I was wrong or anything, but shortly after, I saw somebody say something about this fight. I was on a forum or I was on I was just going through like Google Images or something looking for and this fight came up and I'm like, shit, I should have done Max Steel. I should have done this. So I'm gonna do this now. Um, I think this fight's probably a little better, and I think this fight would probably happen before the Max Steel one would happen, just because Jaime's a lot more well known than Max Steel is. Max is a little obscure. But anyway, let's get into it. So I've talked about Rex before, so I'm not gonna. I think twice actually, because I put him against Ben 10 once, I think. So I'm actually gonna just So he has nanites inside of his body, which allow him to create machines from his body. Um, these machines are created basically for semi-autonomy. Like he's able to use them and control them, but he's not able to like change them at will. He has to, but he's also able to put the machines like back in his body and just create them again. So and I don't remember if there was an exact number, but I think it was somewhere in the thousands of how many different machines he could make. And I mean, he can do like giant fists, giant feet, giant swords, cannons, wings, like all these different things that allow him to do all this crazy stuff. And even without his machinery, he's superhuman. Like he's able to survive hits from. He was able to be launched in a space elevator that had like 12 tons of G-force, put on top of him that would have killed somebody else. He's able to take like concussive hits to the head that would kill normal people. He's able to survive falling off like cliffs and stuff without any machines. This guy's got this crazy amount of durability even without his tech, and with his tech it's even more. Um he also is capable of he can kind of control technology to a degree. Anything else with nanites in it, which is usually like a giant monster, he can kind of deactivate the nanites inside of it to, stop it from affecting them. But he can also affect technology with kind of like a virus by using the nanites to like, I forget how it's described, but he can effectively like screw around with other technology. Um, he was also in like the end last couple of episodes. They also had another group of people that were like had like god level nanites that were supposed to be like they were supposed to give them control over like time, space, matter, gravity, like nanites that could control all of that. So like god level versions of himself, and he was able to beat them, but also he's able to transform into like a giant, not like a mech suit, but like he's able to overclock his nanites, and he turns into like a giant monster essentially. Um, that's not like intentionally. He doesn't do it. It's if he overclocks his nanites, he turns into a giant monster. Um, so yeah, I've mentioned him a lot of times, but somebody I haven't mentioned is Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle. So the Beetle Scarab has infected three different people. The first guy, his name was like Dan something, and he was essentially just like kind of like a Superman character, that era, and he was just not like that era, not like the 1930s, but it was like it was in like the 50s or 60s or something, and he was able to, like he just basically got like flight, strength, everything. The next is, the good classic Ted Cord. His first name's Ted, but it's Cord or Corbin or something. Who was not able to use the Scarab, but is a mechanical genius and was able to, uh, just make all these inventions and stuff. And the third installation, the modern installation, is Jaime Reyes, who is a young kid who has a scarab embedded into his body and now kind of lives with a symbiotic relationship with it. So because of the scarab, he can. It usually takes when he uses it, it takes the form of like a suit, and he's able to kind of like similar to nanotechnology. He's able to create these weapons that he can utilize, and so this like again blades, energy blasters, melee weapons. He can also use wings to fly. It also gives him superhuman, level strength, durability. I don't think it gives him super speed. I haven't seen that, but it lets him fly with like a rocket, which is probably like Mach speed or something. It's DC, so he can probably fly like at fucking Mach 30 or something. Something ridiculous like that. Um, and the other things that the suit does is because the suit has a mind of its own and can act independently. Is also able to like scan for things. It lets him. He's even able to see like objects in other dimensions, like on astral planes of existence. He can like emit a frequency that allows him to see them. Um, the scarab can detect things from other dimensions even, but yeah, I'm just using that as a because that's as far as I know that's like the highest peak of what he's able to do. He can you know sense and detect like interdimensional anomalies rather than so anomalies in his dimension would also be in his within his ability to do. um if Jaime were to like fall under mind control or like pass out or willingly give him control, the scarab can also take control of the suit with Jaime in it, in which case he becomes a lot more powerful because of the scarab's better understanding of its own abilities, and also it's an alien supercomputer, like an ancient supercomputer. So it can think faster than the human brain. It can react faster. It can remove the inhibitions of the human mind so that it can just do all these things. So and he's tangled with top level villains. He's been a part of the Titans for a while, but he's tangled with like really high level villains before. Not like Doomsday or anything, but he might have actually. Ted Cord fought Doomsday. I think he broke his arm and he didn't even leave his ship, but he was there when Doomsday attacked. Um, so getting into the fight itself, this is where I think the context for a fight. This is a very good lesson in um, kind of like a triangle theory in Death Battle with any matchup. Really, is that the variables of the fight itself are, they determine the fight. And you cannot use scaling. You can use scaling to like find a baseline idea of a person's abilities. This is something that Death Battle I think has been screwing up a lot. They've been saying this guy fought this guy once, and that guy can dodge bullets, so that means this guy can dodge bullet. No, it's not how it works. As J.B. Murray once said, if you guys don't know who that is, Wolfer Frag Dude 907, one of the individuals who kind of I watched a lot and kind of inspired me to do this in general. He liked to use a little formula he thought up of Shang-Chi could kick Deadpool's ass. Deadpool in hand-to-hand. Deadpool could kick Taskmaster's ass in hand-to-hand, and Taskmaster could kick Shang-Chi's ass in hand-to-hand. By putting a character against another character, regardless of who's beaten who, or what their track record is, it now becomes a new fight, and you now have to consider those two characters. You cannot by default say that one character would beat another character because a character that could have beaten that character beat that. That doesn't work. So, just because I said Rex could beat Max Steel doesn't mean that I think Rex would beat Jaime Reyes, and I don't think he would. I think Jaime would win this. I'm going to get into that in a second. But saying that Jaime would beat Rex doesn't mean that all of a sudden, if I end up having to do a fight of Max Steel and Jaime, which I wouldn't do unless it was the death battle, which don't think it would be, doesn't mean that I think, oh, well, if Jaime beat Rex and Rex beat Max, then he's going to say Jaime can beat Max. No, that doesn't necessarily apply. So I think this fight's probably, just the fact that I've done all these different fights, I think really lets me apply that. Let me get into why I think Jaime would win. So, like I said, when Rex makes his machines, after he makes them, they kind of become, independently operated. They're almost all mechanical. So there's not a lot of like, EMTs or disruptor. There's not a lot of like, hacking tools that he can make. He is a hacking tool, so why would he need to? So once he creates these these giant machines, they kind of just operate as they were intended to. He can't really change it on the fly. He has to unmake them, like absorb them back into his body, and then remake them. Whereas Jaime can do that. He can change his weapons on the fly. He can create a sword and then make a bigger sword. So I think that gives him an advantage. The other thing is that Rex, one of the biggest, and I think that was one of the reasons I gave Rex the win against Max was the fact that, Max has all these suits that have their specific strengths and specific weaknesses, and he can't really, like, adjust any of that, whereas Rex can kind of make his machines, one at a time at the fly. He doesn't have to, like, he just retains his baseline speed and strength. Jaime doesn't have that issue, so A, that's a weakness that Rex can't exploit, and B, the other reason I gave it to Rex against Max was the ability to mess with other technology and kind of like hack or infect other technology. And the Scarab, this is something I meant to mention, but the Scarab kind of has like its own immune system in a way. Like it has before had measures from like being removed to prevent it from like, being attacked or taken away. So, and like I said, it is capable of acting on its own will. So, that being attacked on the front of being like hacked wouldn't prevent Jaime from being able to fight normally. So, that's pretty much the two biggest advantages that Rex had that now he doesn't. I'm sure there's like a strength difference that's huge because it's DC, like I said, but I don't have any figures to back that up or anything. I do know he said he had like WMD level weaponry, but yeah, so I think it's gonna go to Beetle on this one. But anyway, for Blender 95, see ya.